I'm just gonna say it. The first time I said no and meant it, I swear the world didn't end. But what ended, at least for a moment, was that constant, gnawing guilt I'd been dragging around for years. I didn't start out as someone good at boundaries. Truth? I never even thought I was the kind of person who needed them. I thought boundaries were for people who had big personalities, troublemakers, people who just took up too much space. I just thought I was bad at being a person. Growing up, I always felt like I was out of sync, like everyone else got this invisible manual on how to belong. They fit in. I watched them ease through school, family dinners, office meetings, like they were just floating. Me? I felt like I was thumping around in iron boots, never quite soft enough, never quite quiet enough, never quite right. It's weird. I always felt this restless push inside me, like I was supposed to do things my way, at my pace. But that made people nervous. People like things they can predict, and people like polite, agreeable, steady. And I was not steady. I was a firework with a dodgy fuse. For years, I tried to manage that. I'd watch the others, see how they always had energy for one more coffee, one more call, one more endless meeting that circled the drain but never made a splash. I could fake it for a while. 2 incredible weeks where I'd crush everything, start new projects, push the team forward, land the client, then nothing. My body would just be shut down. I'd stare at the screen and nothing would move. I'd close the bathroom door and just sit on the floor for 20 minutes because walking back out there felt impossible. I thought I was lazy, or depressed, or fundamentally flawed. People noticed the bursts. Sure, they loved the energy when I was on, but when the engine sputtered out, that's when the side eyes started. The questions. You seemed so passionate last week. Are you okay? Can you pick up this project too? Where are you going? Are you leaving early? That kind of stuff. My stomach would clench and my brain would start frantically making up excuses. God, the excuses. And the worst was the guilt. Every single time I said no, even just in my head, there was this avalanche of guilt, like I was breaking some sacred, silent contract. Good people don't say no. Good people don't let others down. Good people don't draw lines. So I didn't. I tried to be the person everyone needed, except I just couldn't keep it up. I'd burn myself to ash, thinking rest would fix it. But it wasn't just rest I needed. I needed a way out of that cycle. I remember hitting my breaking point in the thickest, stickiest summer. August, Monday morning. The office was humid and buzzing. I'd already been up all night, running through an endless to-do list that kept multiplying every time I ticked something off. My boss called me into his office. "We need you to take the lead on this new client," he said. "You get things off the ground better than anyone." He smiled when he said it, like it was a compliment, like it was a gift. I just stared back. I felt nothing move inside me, not a single spark. Something cracked. I wanted to speak. I wanted to say, "I can't." But the words didn't come out. My heart was pounding so hard I thought he could see it under my shirt. Instead, I heard myself say, "Sure, I'll get started this afternoon." I walked out into the hallway, closed the nearest door behind me, and pressed my forehead to the glass. My throat was tight. My whole body felt heavy. That was the moment, I think, when I realized just how good I'd gotten at surrendering myself, at performing, at putting everyone else's comfort above my own energy, my own sanity, at being the magic starter, the fixer, the one who could always be counted on, until I just couldn't. I spent the next 3 days dragging myself through work, through home, barely sleeping, rehearsing scripts in my head. How do I get out of this? What excuse sounds legit? What if they're mad? What if I'm just not cut out for this? On Thursday, after work, I sat in the parking lot and just didn't drive home. Just sat there. I stared at the steering wheel until the sun went down, my body refusing to move. Every little voice inside me was screaming, "Say something, say anything, tell the truth." But I didn't know how. I was too afraid of the fallout, what people would say, what it meant about me, how it would prove, once and for all, that I wasn't enough. That week, I called in sick for the first time in years. Not a real illness, just empty. I stayed in bed and scrolled through my phone, numb, searching for stories about other people who struggled to keep up. I thought, maybe I'll find something that doesn't make me feel like a failure. And buried in a comment thread, someone wrote, "If you always feel spent, it's not because you're weak. Some of us just aren't built for constant output. You can say no." You can say no. I kept reading it over and over, like a new language. I didn't believe it, honestly. But it stuck with me, like a pebble in my shoe, working its way under my skin. That weekend, my brother called. "Hey, it's Mom's birthday next week. Can you handle the dinner? She'll expect your usual magic." I almost said yes, that old lifeboat of a word, the thing that let everyone else keep floating even if I was sinking, but I stopped. I left a long, weird silence hanging in the air. I can't do it this year," I said, finally. "I really can't." He was quiet too. "Are you okay?" he asked, not angry, not disappointed, just curious. "I'm just tired, too much going on. I can't be the one who pulls it all together right now." He surprised me. He just said, "Okay, we'll make it work some other way." Something loosened in my chest. It wasn't dramatic. The earth didn't tremble. No lightning struck. But I felt lighter, a little bit more like myself. From there, everything changed slowly. I started experimenting with tiny no's, leaving parties early when I was fried, letting emails go unanswered overnight, telling friends, "I'd love to see you, but I need a quiet night." It was awkward. It was messy. People didn't always understand. Sometimes they pushed harder. Sometimes they got quiet or annoyed or wanted explanations I couldn't give. The guilt still showed up like an aggressive house guest banging on the door. But the longer I lived with the discomfort, the more I realized it wasn't fatal. It was just old programming, worn into my bones by years of believing my value depended on making things easy for other people, on being special, on being useful. I started noticing when I felt that pressure to perform. It's sneaky, hiding in compliments, lurking in expectations. You're the one who gets things moving. No one starts things like you. I'd feel a little jolt of pride, sure, but then the sinking dread. What if I can't this time? What if I don't want to? I learned to ask myself, do I have it to give right now? And if I didn't, I tried, one shaky step at a time, to say so, even if my voice betrayed me. There were some hard conversations. There were some awkward silences. I lost a few people who loved my fire when it sparked for them, but weren't willing to respect it when I needed to hibernate. But I also found something I didn't expect: space to breathe. Space to hear that little spark inside me whispering what it wanted, not what the world wanted, not what would get me praise or love or approval, but what felt real, what belonged to me. Some days, the guilt still comes back. That old fear, that ache that I'm letting everyone down, that I'll lose everything if I don't deliver. But more and more, there's something else now too. A quiet confidence. The knowledge that the world won't fall apart because I drew a line. That saying no is not a declaration of war, but a simple statement of truth. I still work hard, still show up big when the energy is there. But I don't force it anymore. I don't bleed myself dry for the applause. I don't agree out of fear. If someone's disappointed, that's on them, not me. I've learned to let them have their feelings. I don't owe anyone my constant yes. Now, when I feel that old pressure, I pause. I check in with myself before I blurt out a promise I can't keep. Sometimes I still get it wrong. I overcommit, or I bite my tongue when I should have spoken, but I catch it faster. I forgive myself quicker. And here's the wildest thing. People started to respect my boundaries when I started respecting them too. Not everyone, but the ones who matter, the ones I want near me. For the first time, I'm living with more space for rest, more quiet, more bursts of real inspiration instead of panic-fueled productivity. Saying no is still hard, especially the quiet no, the one that comes without drama, without needing to explain or defend or apologize. Just a gentle drawing back, just honoring my own strange, beautiful rhythms. Here's the thing. If you feel different, if you work in wild bursts and then just need to vanish, if you've spent your life apologizing for needing more quiet, more time, more space, there's nothing wrong with you. Really, you get to set boundaries too. You get to say no, even quietly, even imperfectly, even if you haven't learned all the words for it yet. This is how I'm living now, saying yes when it's real, saying no when it's not, letting that be enough, and finally, letting myself breathe.